And we are live, Gateway Coliseum in St. Louis, Missouri. I am Robert Garrett alongside Wade Phillips in color commentary and Gerald Smith in stats. Wade, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to get started on this game and ready to see how this turns out and see what kind of teams we see.
And these are two teams so far in the first third of the season that have had a lot of up and downs, but some good to show along with that. Las Vegas, struggling in rush defense, while St. Louis has really excelled at that.
For sure. St. Louis has got playmakers all over the field. They've got ball hawks. They've got linebackers that can just lay the wood, and it's going to shape up to be a fantastic matchup.
Wade, to get going into this game, I just got to ask, are there any, key players or things that either of these teams need to watch to really get this game going in their favor?
Yeah, the wide receivers for Las Vegas are very tall, whereas some of the defensive backs for St. Louis are taller, so we can look for a lot of pass deflections, pickoffs, and those defensive linemen against the offensive linemen. A lot of sacks, I foretell.
And as the coin toss comes in, Las Vegas has elected to defend, so we will get to see St. Louis and Johnny Pickler get the ball first. Or, excuse me, I misread that. We'll get to see Las Vegas and Thomas Rahman get the ball first. And the kick from St. Louis coming off of kicker Judah Dorgan, a new signee with the team. This kick is off and fielded, going to be taken up and runs straight into a pile. That ball will be put down at about the 26-yard line.
Not a bad little return. Starts them off in fairly decent position. Going to get them started. Hopefully they can start out, mix it up, involve their running backs and their tight ends, and spread it all around this field.
And Thomas Rahman and offense will start. Nobody in the backfield, 5 wide. Rahman to take the snap, drop back, and throw this ball. It is fallen incomplete, and there's already a penalty flag on the play.
I wonder what interference maybe? Looked like there was a log jam over there. Yep.
And that will be a pass interference call on the Gladiators, number 42. That's something that they can't get going early in this game. You gotta watch that.
Definitely, you can't start off the game with the penalty. It just kills your momentum straight from the start, and it's going to set them in a hole. Mark them back, give them a free first down plus some, and it's going to be a downhill struggle from here.
And Las Vegas going to come in with the I formation. John Truzman at fullback with Robert Redford behind him, one wide receiver out wide. They're going to take the snap and hand this off to Redford. Redford going to get ahead, fight out of a tackle, and get taken down at the 43-yard line.
And the linebacker thought he had him, and Redford just spins right around him, picks up a couple extra yards, drags the defender. The scat back, drugged the defender, and used all his weapons right there. It was beautiful.
Robert Redford comes into this game at 5'10", 200 pounds, so small and shifty, able to get out of dangerous situations. Going to take another snap and hand off to Redford again, who's going to get just past the first down line before he gets tackled.
Yep. Offensive line opened up a pretty good hole, and then the linebacker just came in and just snuffed it out right before anything could get started. Looked like that was maybe Diesel on the tackle. Just snuffed it out right there.
Vegas going to come out in sort of a weak I formation, 2 receivers to the top of the screen. It looks like St. Louis going with more of a nickel formation. Rahman going to drop back to pass and throw this one that's caught. It's a 6-yard gain before he's tackled out of bounds.
And Las Vegas is really pleasing me with their mixing up of the run and pass, because they started with a couple runs, got a few yards, then got that pass, and setting them up for big things.
Memphis Blue with the first reception for the Fury. This ball is going to be snapped back, one single back in the backfield, has thrown short, caught, and taken down at the 34-yard line.
There's Blades on his first reception of the match. if they can get him involved early and often, it's going to be a long night for St. Louis because John Blades can stretch the field. He can catch over the middle. It's going to be worth watching tonight.
The Fury come out with one single back in the backfield, 2 tight ends and 2 receivers out wide. Rahman going to drop back to pass, throw this one out wide, and it's going to be caught before he steps out of bounds. Another flag thrown.
Now I'm curious what this was. Could it be holding, maybe? No.
They're going to call a late hit on the Gladiators. And it did kind of look like the receiver may have just stepped across that line or gotten out of bounds right before he was tackled.
Yep. Kind of one of those where, I mean, you're better off finishing the play, but again, you can't shoot yourself in the foot with 2 penalties on the first drive, and that's just extended it into the red zone now.
Yeah, and the Fury really taking advantage of these 2 penalties early in the game. Already on the 15-yard line in the red zone, Rahman got split backs in the backfield, 2 receivers to his left. He's going to drop back to pass. Throw this one. That guy's wide open. It's a touchdown. Chris Braun.
Ooh, that looked like a miscommunication. The corner thought he had safety coverage, but unfortunately, it looked like Colin Douglas didn't show up and cover that because he was wide open.
And the Fury going to get the chance to bring out Rob Ems, their kicker, to kick his first field goal or extra point of the night, following a Chris Braun touchdown, only his second on the season.
Yep, fairly new, but this should be just a little chip shot.
And that drive, an 8-play, 73-yard drive, resulting in a 15-yard touchdown pass. But really the beater there for the Gladiators was the penalties.
Definitely. Without those penalties, I mean, we obviously don't know what's going to happen, but that just dictates the tempo and sets the match, just sets them back because now they're digging themselves a hole, and now they've got to dig themselves right back out of it.
The extra point for the Fury is up and good, so Rob Ems will kick this ball off to the Gladiators. Chase Earl back to receive. He catches this ball. He's going to take it out, get to the 20, step to the left, but finally get dragged down at about the 25. The Fury lucky to catch up to a pretty dangerous kick return there.
Definitely. Chase Earl had one taken back to the house last week, 99 yards and a touchdown, and so it cannot be understated that he is a threat in the return game.
So Johnny Pickler and his offense going to come out. Diesel Dawson to his left, 2 receivers out wide to the right. Pickler going to take the snap and drop back to pass. Look and throw this one to a quick out who's going to get tackled immediately. 6-yard gain at the 32-yard line.
Starting off strong already. Picks up the 6-yard gain on the out route. We need to see a lot of that, a lot of mixing up the plays. They've got to stay balanced because if they get one-dimensional, it could be over in a hurry. And the more they spread the ball around and play balance, the better they're going to be.
Pickler going to take his first snap under center for the day, split backs and hand this one off to Dawson, who's going to get to the line of scrimmage before he has to bounce back and get back to the line again to get tackled.
Yep, Diesel Dawson tried any hole he could get, but that offensive line isn't starting off strong. It's not opening up the holes for him. Hopefully that changes for him and see if he can hit those holes just as hard as he can when they're wide open.
Gladiator split back again. Pickler's going to drop back to pass and throw this one that should have been caught but dropped a very open pass.
Yeah, definitely. He had a man behind him, but I don't know if that hand gets in there and punches the ball out, but should have been an easy catch, but unfortunately just dropped, and now we're sitting at 4-4.
So the Fury doing their best to put up a 4th and out against the Gladiators. The first punt of the night for Bo Zabrowski. Chris Braun is back to return this punt. The snap is a little bit low, but gets this one off with little to no pressure. Chris Braun going to get this and take this up to the 40-yard line before he is taken down.
Yep, nothing doing on that. The coverage got there way too fast. The Gunners were were snuffing it out, and he had nowhere to run on that.
And we will again get to see the offense for the for the Fury. Again, this is quarterback Tom Rahman, wide receivers Chris Braun, Memphis Blue, and LZ Pryor, running back Robert Redford, fullback John Trusman, tight ends John Blades and Dan Daly. This ball is going to be handed off to Redford, who's only going to take it up for a 1-yard gain.
Yep, the defense won that right there at the line of scrimmage because the offensive line got nothing. No push, nothing. Just the defensive line was in there in a hurry, brought him down for a gain of 1.
And it will be the I formation for the Fury. One receiver out wide to the right. He's going to step back and hand this ball off to Redford, who's going to get stood up at the line for a loss of 1.
Just nothing. Outside linebacker snuffs it out. The defensive line wins their battles. Just at this rate, Redford is in for a long night.
The Fury facing a 3rd and 10. Rahman going to take the lone spot in the backfield, drop back to pass, scramble to the left, and throw this one, but it is easily swatted down.
And he committed the cardinal sin of a quarterback. Never, unless you're a certain quarterback in another league, don't throw across your body because it's 90% of the time going to end in disaster. And they're lucky that it was just batted down.
And the first punt of the night for Robert Blutarski. And this is going to Chase Earl, waiting for the punt. This punt is back, perfect snap and up. Got close to being blocked, but no pressure there. And Chase Earl's going to get this one and get dragged down at the 24-yard line.
Yep, and there are white jerseys all over there. The punt was perfect. Just pin him where he couldn't do anything. Yeah, you'd like to see it in the 20, but when he gets nothing on the return, I'll take that anytime.
And the Gladiators come out on offense yet again, looking to kind of right the ship from their first drive when they couldn't really get anything done. Split backs in the backfield. This one's handed off to Diesel Dawson, who's going to get a gain of 5 before being dragged down.
And that's better right there. Line opened him up a little hole. He sprints forward for 5 yards. Take that. Now let's see if they can open up the field, get some play action going, and just keep on driving down the field.
And we get a look at Diesel Dawson, who has had a pretty good season so far, 105 carries for 480 yards and 4 touchdowns, looking to continue his success being the single back in the backfield, 2 receivers to the right of the formation. Pickler going to drop back to pass and be sacked.
Just brought down. Perfect coverage on the back end, and he was looking downfield too long, had to make a decision, but just blows through his man and brings him down. Just perfect play.
And that is big man number 53, Rhett Sawyer, adding his 4th sack to the season, already having some success in the backfield.
Definitely. He is lighting it up this year and got a bunch of tackles for loss as well. 5 at the 6, including that. So keep an eye out on him.
Pickler will drop back to pass, go to scramble, but stop, throw this one, and it's caught. The 42-yard line, that is Cody Scott.
Cody Scott, the big tight end, brings in his first catch of the game. He has 2 touchdowns on the year, and he is a big weapon for him because he just opens up all kinds of stuff over the middle. He leapt for it and just brought it in for a tremendous first down for him.
The ball to Cody Scott, slightly overthrown there by Pickler, but Scott showing his vertical there and able to get up and catch that ball. So St. Louis now at their 42-yard line. 2 backs on both sides of Pickler. Going to drop back and throw this ball that's caught for a first down, dragged down at the 46-yard line.
You know, the St. Louis offensive line hasn't done much run blocking-wise, but pass blocking, other than that last sack, the rest of these, they've held their men and gave him enough time to find his target and caught him wide open for a first down.
And the Gladiators going to come out with all the receivers to the left side of the formation, split backs. Pickler drop back to pass, step up into the pocket and throw this one to Dawson. is going to power ahead and get 6 yards before he's dropped.
Great pocket awareness by Pickler. And of course, as soon as I congratulate the offensive line, they kind of shed a little bit, and but he finds his running back, gets some positive yards, keep on trucking.
And the Gladiators come back out with a 2nd and short. Diesel Dawson just to the left of Pickler, 2 receivers to the right side of the formation, 1 alone on the left. Pickler going to drop back to pass and throw this one out wide. That's caught. And he's taken down at the 16-yard line.
Yeah, he got behind his man, and Pickler threw a little bit high, but enough to where he can catch it, bring it down, get that first down, secure it, and now they're inside the 20, looking pretty, and now they got a 1st and 10, and they smell the end zone.
Chase Earl ran what looked to be a corner route there, and the 3 Fury defenders nearby, and all of them seemed kind of confused as that play happened. Pickler going to take the snap from under center, drop back to pass, throw this one short. It's caught for an 8-yard gain. They're now at the Las Vegas 8.
And that's what they need. Those quick passes alleviate any rush they get. And if they can keep this up, they're going to have no problem scoring right here.
And Chase Earl having success early in the game. 2 catches for 31 yards for the Gladiators. Both of them obviously taking place on this drive. And they are in striking distance. Pickler going to drop back to pass, scan the field, and throw this one off. That's caught and pushed in for a touchdown. Cody Scott.
And there's the big tight end. 2 touchdowns make that 3 touchdowns. And showing why he's a weapon, just catches it right over the middle, beats his man, beats the linebacker to it. And Day Drury almost tipped it, but almost doesn't get you anything in this league.
And it looked like Freddie Trammell was going to have him at the 1-yard line, but somebody came in from behind and kind of hit him. It looked like it pushed him forward across the end zone line. So the Gladiators now line up for the extra point to tie this game with 2 minutes and 51 seconds left in the first quarter. Snap is back, kick is up, and it is good. Score now 7-7 in Gateway Coliseum as the Gladiators tie it up.
Very nice. Like to see that. Keeping it tight. Tit for tat. See if this can keep up. See if one defense can step up and stop them and keep that momentum on.
And Chris Braun back to receive this kick as the kick is off and deep. Braun fields it at about the 9-yard line. You take it forward, dodge one, get to the 30-yard line before he's dragged down.
You know, St. Louis has kept it balanced, so they've kept it close, and Las Vegas has done pretty much the same, and now we haven't seen any penalties, so I think clean slate, new ball game. Vegas can take over from here if they can. St. Louis can do everything they can to stop them.
Weak I formation showing to the left. Tom Rahman going to adjust the play before he snaps and drops back to pass. This one's thrown out wide and it's caught. It's a 5-yard gain before he's taken down at the sideline.
Yep, spreading it out, quick out. Chris Braun will take that anytime. Just tack on 5 yards. Now they sets him up for a run, play action. And the world is their oyster.
That reception actually made by Memphis Blue on the opposite side of the field. But Vegas going to come out again in the weak I formation. Only one receiver out wide as Rahman drops back to pass. Throws this one that's caught wide open and taken down at the 49-yard line.
And there's big number 88, Dan Daly. He has one touchdown on the year, 3 receptions, but he is a chain mover, and he is a load at 6'5", 280.
And Dan Daly only coming into this game with 3 receptions, but showing that he is useful down the stretch here. Is Rahman going to take the snap from under center? Redford, the lone back. He's going to drop back to pass and throw this one. That one is caught. Oh, it's fumbled. It's picked up, and he got it back to the 48-yard line before he's taken down.
Well, how about that for Fortunes? They start off with the penalties, and now they make redemption and get that fumble. Dan Daly, we were just talking about him, catches it, gets popped, busts out, and then the fumble recovery. Just talk about a turn in fortunes.
And Colin Douglas, the player, able to get to that ball as it kind of rolled backwards away from the Fury players. So the Gladiators will come back out on offense with very good field position. Surprisingly, no challenge flag, just to take another look at that, as Pickler has Dawson to his right, going to drop back to pass and throw this one deep. That is caught. He's taken down at the 20-yard line.
He got behind everybody. And how do you miss a guy that's 6'5" and just running down the middle of the field? And that was just a breakdown on the coverage by Las Vegas. And Pickler is making him pay for it.
And the Gladiators fan base, getting loud early in this game, having something to be excited for. They've struggled so far in this third of the season, only able to pull out one win, but looking to strike and play well tonight. Pickler's going to drop back to pass and get sacked again. It's the second time tonight.
And that's a big sack by Esteban. Guapo Esteban just beats his man. Coverage is good, and the quarterback has nowhere to go except end up on the dirt.
And Johnny Pickler already having trouble this season, having been sacked 15 times coming into this game, so 2 more times early in the first quarter as he drops back to pass and throw, and that one is almost picked off.
Ooh, went to the well one too many times and almost paid for it because Colontrell just jumped right into the path of that ball, and they are lucky that wasn't a pick six.
Yeah, Cody Scott, running over the middle of the field, and just didn't work out for him that time. Pickler going to drop back to pass, taking this from the shotgun, dump it off real fast. And he's going to break one tackle before being taken down, just showing the power that Diesel Dawson has.
Yeah, he is a load, but that is just not going to do it. I mean, you got to go for it a little longer than that. It's just where you're in that range right there, not the right play call.
And Judah Dorgan going to come out to kick this field goal, about a 40-yard field goal. As the snap is back, kick is up, and it is good. So St. Louis not quite being able to take advantage of the fumble recovery, but still able to add points to the board.
Yep. I mean, we'll take those 3 points because any points are good, and it just puts you up. And now Las Vegas has to come back and pay them back with their own points.
And the first quarter almost finished. The score is 10-7. St. Louis looking pretty strong to start this game.
They are. I'm glad we're seeing the Dr. Jekyll version of this Jekyll and Hyde team that can sometimes come in and look really, really good, and then sometimes they're not looking on their A game, and they have definitely so far brought their A game.
And Elsie Pryor actually taking that kickoff back, taken down at about the 33-yard line. Las Vegas back-to-back starts and just really good field position. Tom Rahman going to be under center with the ISO in the back. One tight end to the right as he drops back, hands this to Robert Redford, who's going to get tackled but break it and get taken down. 5-yard gain.
Yep, the offensive line won their battles right there. Second level couldn't get there, but Robert Redford breaking tackles and picking up a 5-yard gain.
And that is the end of the first quarter. You are watching the Simulation Football League on YouTube. As we come back, Tom Rahman under center with the The fullback on the weak right side going to take this snap and hand it off to Redford, who's going to get to the line of scrimmage and be dragged down.
Yep. Offensive line didn't block enough bodies in the scrum because Redford had a hole to his right, but the man on his left was just untouched and brought him down.
Tom Rahman going to go empty backfield, 4 receivers out wide as he drops back to pass and throws this one to the tight end. It's caught, taken down at the 46-yard line.
There's that tight end again, and Dan Daly, John Blades, showing why he is a weapon in this offense, just catching everything that comes to him.
John Blades, 3 receptions so far this game for 28 yards. So being extremely useful so far. Rahman going to be under center again. ISO formation behind him as his hand off to Redford, who's going to get 1 yard before he's just absolutely dropped.
Yep, and they are just closing them out right now. The linebacker Diesel just comes in untouched, and which it's, it is hard to block 2 people, but we need people breaking through into the secondary, blocking linebackers and getting to the next level.
The ball is handed off to Robert Redford, who's going to fight ahead and manage to get up to the 47-yard line for a 3rd and short.
He's showing sheer determination. Not the biggest back in the world, but he plays like he's 250. He can juke, and right there showed you that he can drag people too.
Tom Rahman going to be in the shotgun with a back on either side of him, 2 receivers to his left as he drops back to pass, throws this one deep, and it's tipped, almost picked off, but not able to get there.
Tip drill, and Mark Gronick almost picked that up, but at this point they almost have to abandon the run and just go for the pass because it's not working out for the run. The St. Louis is just too good.
For those of you who are viewing this for the first time, what are you watching? The Simulation Football League is the first controllerless esport allowing you, the viewer, to participate in all the action on the field without a controller in your hands. Visit simulation.football for details on how to get started with a team in the league. And that punt is kicked deep and stopped at the St. Louis 1. Johnny Pickler and company will have the entire length of the field to go to get anything here.
And this is going to be, they're in danger zone. Look to see some runs right here. Just, you don't want to get sacked in the end zone, but this is danger territory.
And Diesel Dawson going to be the lone back as this one's handed off to him. He fights through a man and gets 3 yards before he goes down at the 4.
He just blew through the lineman, and he is just showing that he cannot be stopped on the first contact. And now St. Louis is sitting a little better on the 4, but anything's better than the 1, honestly.
And Diesel Dawson will be offset to the right as Pickler will drop back to pass, dump this one to Dawson, who's going to fight ahead, power through one man, but get taken out at the 9-yard line.
Yep, and they're using Dawson in any role he can get his hands on the ball, and right there he picks up 5 more yards and just plug away. I mean, if they need to get it to Diesel every chance they can, I say do it every play if it's looking good.
And the Gladiators will be in split backs on 3rd and short. 2 receivers at the bottom of the screen. Pickler going to drop back to pass, throw this one deep. That's caught as he's taken down.
Yep, and that was the big tight end again, Cody Scott, and he just high pointed that ball, uses massive jumping ability, and just picked it out and picks up the first down. He is truly a weapon in this offense, and they use him as much as they can.
And Vegas doing whatever they can to try and slow down Cody Scott. They actually had their big corner Merrick Itera covering them there. 6'3", 225, trying to size matches. Pickler's going to drop back to pass throw, and it's picked off! Taken down at the 35-yard line.
It looked like they might have been trying to do this very, very similar play with Chase Earl, but nope. The defender just pops right into it and just takes it and picks up 5 yards. And that is not what St. Louis needed to do. And now Vegas has it on the St. Louis 35 and looking to score.
Freddie Trammell just reading Johnny Pickler's eyes. They're able to jump that route and take it up to the 35-yard line where the Fury will start their drive. Rahman under center, single back in the backfield. He's going to drop back to pass and throw this one quickly. It's almost intercepted right back.
Ooh, and he almost got Colin Douglas. I mean, if he gets that, he's got some daylight, and he's fast. So I mean, he picks up a few good chunks of yards on that, and but harmless. Pat batted down, and now it's 2nd and 10.
And Rahman going to be under center with the backs in ISO formation. Going to hand this one off to Robert Redford, who's able to get through the line and fight ahead for 7 yards.
And he had blockers in front of him. Couldn't shake that tackle, but picks up a good chunk of yards. And now they're even better position, and they can pass it down the field. I wouldn't trust their run game enough since they haven't done very much, but they're shaping up.
And it's hard to have a run game against just the powerful defensive line that St. Louis has, and really their front 7 or 8 as a whole. They're going to take this one in the shotgun and throw this one off. That's caught at the 20-yard line where he's dragged down at the 18.
And that play couldn't have, without barring a touchdown, couldn't have turned out any better because they get the yards they need, and it's just spreading out those wide receivers, and now they're going to be thinking, we've got to make sure no one gets behind us and use that back of the end zone as another defender.
Rahman takes it with an empty backfield, throws it off, and it's caught at the 6, caught at the 8, taken up to the 6.
Yep.
John Blades on the reception.
Yep, Blades again targeted, and he's dangerous in the red zone, and if they can get it to him here, they're looking like they could definitely score because he is a tall guy.
And I apologize, that was actually Max Rockatansky on the reception there, getting his first of the day. Fury going to go with ISO in the backfield. Rahman under center. Going to step back and hand this to Redford, who's going to run open into the end zone. Touchdown for the Fury.
And there it is, this 3rd touchdown of the year. And hasn't seen the end zone very much this year, but he gets it there. And now they're within, they're actually pulled ahead. And so now they're going to be up by 4. And so sitting pretty.
6 minutes left to go in this second quarter, and so far it's kind of been Las Vegas's quarter. I'd say the first quarter kind of went to St. Louis, and now Las Vegas getting their chance to shine. It's been a very back and forth game for these two teams as the kick is up and good. The Fury take the 14-10 lead.
And now it's St. Louis's turn to talk back, and things didn't go the way they wanted last chance, and they look to rectify the situation.
Rob Ems waiting to kick the ball off. He's going to signal and get his players ready as he kicks this one. It is up and deep. The ball will be fielded at about the 2. He's going to take it up and get to the 25-yard line where he's dragged down.
Yep. Blockers ahead of him couldn't stop all the white jerseys coming in, and picked up enough for manageable field position, but haven't seen those explosive plays in the return game that we normally do.
And Johnny Pickler and his offense looking to take the field again after just a tough interception thrown. He's going to take this one with split backs in the backfield, 2 receivers to his right. He's going to sidearm throw this one to the sideline. It's caught for a 4-yard gain.
And that's going to do wonders for the confidence after that interception. Just completions for positive yards are just going to pay off dividends near the end of this drive.
And that catch was by Sean Harrelson. So him, really, all these St. Louis receivers getting action so far in this game. Pickler really spreading the ball around. This one's thrown and caught up to the 41-yard line. I do believe that was Cody Scott yet again.
Cody Scott with the catch, and they really are spreading it all around, and it's nice to see that, because then the defense can't really pigeon on one receiver, and it just makes their job a lot more difficult.
Dawson, the lone back in the backfield. This ball will be handed to him. He's fumbled. They're fighting for the ball. There's a big pile, and it looks like Las Vegas will come up with that one.
Oh no, just when we thought they had a chance to make a drive, they do that, and that's just a big takeaway for Las Vegas, because now they have their chance to put their foot on the gas and not look back.
And Dave Drury is the one that laid that massive hit on Dawson to force that fumble. So Las Vegas coming out with good field position for the second time in a row, and you got to think they're really wanting to punch this one in. ISO in the backfield for Rahman as he hands this one off to Redford, who's going to go untouched for 5 yards before he's dragged down by Colin Douglas.
The Las Vegas offensive lineman got into the second level and were able to pick up some blocks, and that sprung him for a 5-yard gain. And that's exactly what Redford needs to see is positive yards. That way he gets ahead of steam and it pays off.
Rahman going to drop back to pass this time, throw it out wide. It's caught by Memphis Blue and taken down just at the first down line.
And there are those quick outs, quick passes that we had talked about before the game, that we expected to see, just to alleviate some of the pressure from these defensive lines and front sevens, because they are some scary looking units.
And Rahman alone in the backfield. Got one receiver to the left, and 2 or 3 to the right. Rahman is sacked and taken down by the St. Louis defensive line. I believe that's Shane Masters on the sack.
Yep, Shane Masters got the sack, and it really, everything fell apart on that play, coverage and line.
Rahman under center, split backs in the backfield. He's going to throw this one, caught wide open, only able to get up to the 26-yard line, taken down.
Well, that takes some of that sack away, and that makes it a much more manageable 3rd and 5. And now you look to see some medium route passes and something that will at least get a first down, maybe something to open up the field for some play action and some deeper shots.
Fury facing a 3rd and 5 at St. Louis's 26-yard line. Rahman going to drop back to pass in the shotgun, step up in the pocket, throw this one deep, and it's almost caught but swatted down. Great play by Freeman Peltier.
Yeah, Peltier got his hand on it. I thought he was going to bring it down, but got his hand in there, punched it away. Incomplete, harmless little pass.
And the Las Vegas offense will have to trot off the field as Rob Ems comes out to kick this field goal to try to go up by 7. They're going to await the snap. Snap is up a little high, but kicked up and is going. It is good. 43-yard field goal to take the lead, 17-10.
Now they're up by a touchdown, and anything except touchdowns, they're gonna not do much in the getting back in the ball game department, because you've got to get touchdowns at this point if you're St. Louis.
And both teams being able to force and recover a fumble. They're just hitting really hard tonight. They really want this win to start out the second third of the season. As Chase Earl takes this ball up to the 26-yard line, tries to bounce it outside, but it's taken down.
Yep. Now with St. Louis, they've got to, on this drive, they obviously they can't have any turnovers, and they need to switch up their game plan, because they're getting a little predictable, and it's biting them.
And there's 3 minutes left in the second quarter. You know, St. Louis barely getting the ball so far in the second quarter. That ball is caught. Managed to just squeeze it in the tightest seam that he could. Sean Harrelson gets that one.
Harrelson, we haven't called his name much this game, but gets in, gets a nice catch, nice big play, and I look forward to calling his name again because he is a threat.
And the safety jumped in there, tried to get the deflection, but just not able to quite time the dive right. So the Gladiators up to their 44-yard line. Pickler going to take the snap, drop back, and throw it to a quick out, who's going to fall harmlessly out of bounds at midfield.
Well, it stops the clock. Even though you got that 2-minute warning, you can still do kind of a 3-minute offense and keep moving down the field. And you just need positive yardage, and that's what they're doing.
And Johnny Pickler throwing 186 yards so far in this first half of the game. You know, really trying to hold the offense up and keep them going. He's got one back to his right in the backfield. He's going to throw this one another quick out. Who's going to go out of bounds just 1 yard short of the first down.
Yep. I thought he might be able to turn that corner and get the first down, but couldn't quite. And now it's 3rd and 1. Sets him up for, I mean, really anything at this point.
And St. Louis got plenty of time on the clock, still 2 minutes to go, just about, as Pickler will take this one under center. Dawson, the lone back, bunch formation to the right. And he's going to take this snap and hand it off to Diesel Dawson, who's going to fight ahead, break a couple tackles, but get dragged down at the 39-yard line as we go into the 2-minute warning. St. Louis's offense will come back out after the 2-minute warning. Pickler under center, ISO formation behind him. 2 receivers to the right. Pickler going to drop back to pass and throw this one quickly. It's caught and taken out of bounds. Tackled just after he stepped out of bounds. It looked just like the play earlier that got called for a late hit against St. Louis, actually.
Yep, it did look very similar. And this is exactly what St. Louis needs to do. Just you know, the 5-6 yard gains, keep getting out of bounds, and it's working. And let's see if they can hold on to the ball and hit pay dirt.
And St. Louis going to go trips to the right. Dawson, the lone back in the backfield. This one's handed off to him. So he's going to fight ahead and get the first down before going down at the 29-yard line.
Gets the first down, and clock continues to go down, but that's what they need, first down, and 29 yards to go to pay dirt, and we can look to see targets the tight end, and he is a favorite weapon in the red zone.
Dawson offset to the right, Pickler under center. He's going to hand this one off to Dawson, who's going to fight ahead and only get a gain of 4.
And, you know, they're running up the middle, which, you know, is a good thing. In case they do end up having to kick a field goal, because it's going to be a little easier to kick from the center of the field for that kicker.
And this is something St. Louis has really done all season is, you know, they trust in Diesel Dawson. It doesn't really matter the situation. They're just going to keep going back to it, and they do yet again. He's going to fight through one tackle, get ahead for the first down, and keep going. He's going to walk into the end zone. That's a touchdown, Diesel Dawson.
Wow, they put it on his shoulders, the workhorse. He breaks through tackles, stiff arms people, and just walks into the end zone. That was picture perfect for the offensive line getting to the second level. Tight ends, wide receivers, everybody blocking downfield, and he can't discount the Diesel himself.
And Dawson broke 2 tackles before really taking that last 5 yards. Kind of easy, able to walk it in, and that was a 25-yard rushing touchdown for Diesel Dawson. Judah Dorgan going to be back to kick the extra point to tie up this game. Snap is back a little low. It's going to be blocked.
Wow. how about that? That was what they needed. That couldn't have come at a bigger time. And now St. Louis has to battle back from a 1-point deficit. And Vegas can take their hats into this next drive and know that they did their job on at least that last play.
And it looked like the guard there just forgot where he was. The player lined up across from him dove straight through the gap, and the guard just kind of turned around and had to watch that play happen. As the kick is off to Las Vegas and is caught, taking up a spin move, but not able to get anywhere as he's taken down at the 28-yard line. And, Wade, with 51 seconds left to go in this first half, do you think that Vegas is going to try to take it down the field and get points, or just see what they can do?
You always want to get points. I mean, I would just keep running it. That way you don't throw an interception. But hey, that looks like they're going to be trying to score, and I'm all for it.
And Rahman will drop back and throw this one a 5-yard gain to Memphis Blue. I'd have to agree with you. You want to kind of play it safe. You're up by 1. No point in throwing meaningless passes. But I guess if you're going to hit the quick outs, they've proved to work, and they're going to keep going. This ball's going to be handed to Robert Redford, who's going to fight a tackle, and they're going to manage to drag him down at the 48-yard line. Just about broke that one.
Yeah, he just needed to break that last tackle, and he would have been gone.
Rahman going to take this snap under center, drop back to pass, and throw this one away harmlessly before he's sacked. Or not sacked, but taken down.
He's going to be kicking himself. They didn't see Redford. He had some space in front of him. If he hits him, they're at least, if he steps out of bounds, they're in field goal territory.
And, we've talked a little bit about Redford tonight, but there's really a breakaway speed that we almost got to see there on that last play. He, 3 games in a row, has had a long rush of 45 yards or more.
Yeah, he is definitely a speed demon, and uses all that speed, and has paid off for him. Not in this game yet, but so far.
A Hail Mary is thrown deep and picked off, but he stepped out of bounds, so it's no good. They're just going to go into the locker room up by 1. So, it's kind of early, obviously, to pick player of the game. There's still a whole nother half to go. But if you had to kind of pick like an MVP of the half, where would you go with it?
Either team could get it, but the tight ends have been huge. Both teams are using their tight ends as dump-offs, safety blankets, and just using them as weapons downfield. They've hit them for deep passes, short passes, medium routes, and they've also used them as blockers. So I would have to say, I'm going to say Dan Daly and Cody Scott are my players of the halves.
And Dan Daly coming in to the game with only 3 receptions for 19 yards. He's already got 2 receptions for 26 yards on this game, so doing quite the amount of work for his numbers. And Cody Scott, 4 receptions for 81 yards, so doing what he's been known to do really all season for the Gladiators.
And with Dan Daly, it's not necessarily how many receptions, how many yards, it's the spots that he's done it in, and almost a sure catch. But those are my guys.
And the defensive lines for both teams coming in to really show how they've done all season, as Las Vegas with 2 sacks and St. Louis with 1 themselves.
Yep. And we pinpointed that before the matchup, and before this game, Rahman had been sacked 9 times, and Pickler had been sacked 15 times. So to see that many sacks at this point has surprised me for sure.
And just got to give a big thank you and shout out to Gerald Smith, our stats guy, giving us something to look at numbers-wise and really making us sound smarter than we actually are. So thank you for that.
Most definitely. Thank you.
You know, we've seen 2 forced fumbles this game, but actually neither of them coming from the guys on Las Vegas that are known for forced fumbles, as Merrick Itera and Max Jackson are actually both number 1 and number 2 all time in forced fumbles for the Simulation Football League.
Definitely, and it has been surprising because it seems like anytime there's a forced fumble by Las Vegas, it is one of those two, and so to not see him do it, a little surprising, but hey, they got to share the wealth a little bit.
And we are about to see the start of the second half as St. Louis will get the ball on this kickoff by Rob Ems. And Ems will come up, and the kick is off. Chase Earl waiting for it patiently as he takes this at about the 3-yard line. He's going to bring it out, get to the 25 before he's tackled.
And hadn't seen daylight today, but always a dangerous return, man. We talked about the touchdown last week for him, but he is a dangerous weapon in both the passing game and the return game.
And Johnny Pickler and his offense will be able to take this field again. Really being able to get things done on the feet of Diesel Dawson mainly, but Pickler going to drop back and throw this one. Going to get about 12 yards before he's taken down. And seeing Pickler to start out the second half rather than Diesel Dawson.
And starting off strong, he's getting in rhythm already, and hit up Sean Harrelson, and those quick passes, I think they can be really effective against Las Vegas.
And that was Sean Harrelson's fifth reception of the day for 51 yards. So being a go-to target for Pickler so far. He's going to drop back and throw this one to Dawson. Dawson going to try to get the stiff arm off, but get dragged down after a 7-yard gain.
Little scamper and picks up 7. He kept his head, trucking forward, and he is a load to bring down, and he had a big first half, and he's looking to extend that into the second.
Pickler going to take the snap from under center, ISO formation behind him. He's going to drop back to pass and throw this one sidearm to Dawson. It's going to get swatted down harmlessly, and the Gladiators will face a 3rd and short.
Oh, what could have been. That could have been, he'd still be running. And just harmless pass deflection, the best outcome for St. Louis on that miscommunication.
So St. Louis will come out facing a 3rd and 3. Weak ISO formation in the back. Pickler under center. 2 receivers to his left. He's going to drop back and hand this one to Dawson. Going to break a tackle, get through. There's nothing but open field. He's at the 25. He's going to finally get tackled, but stiff arm him at the 5 and taken down at the 2.
Wow. Check out that run. And, if Sean Harrelson can block the defensive back, he's got nothing in front of him except his own man. So, Harrelson kind of impedes him a little bit. Vegas tries to tackle him, but shook him off, but finally brought down.
And Dawson a little too excited to get into the end zone there. Looked like he might have looked back to try to see where his defender was. Pickler going to drop back to pass, pump fake, and throw this one, but he's too close to the sideline. Dawson going to walk out of bounds.
Ooh, not the best play, but, not much hurting them. They've got at least one more shot, and they could go for it on 4th. You never know.
2nd and goal for the Gladiators. Pickler's going to take this under center. Diesel Dawson offset to his right. And Las Vegas going to crowd the line. Pickler going to drop back, throw this one short. It's caught, but not quite able to get there as he gets tackled at the goal line.
Yep, trying to weave through traffic. Nick Finch got mad at the end zone. Thought he could push it in, but too many white shirts just push him right out of the end zone.
And St. Louis looking at a 3rd and goal. You got to think that they're thinking Diesel Dawson here in this the short area to gain, but we'll see as Pickler drops back to pass. Throw this one out wide. It's caught. Nobody around him. That's a touchdown.
Yeah. Nick Finch just beats his man and is wide open, and Pickler just airmails it to him, and that is exactly what they needed on their first drive of the second half.
And Nick Finch coming into tonight did not have a recorded touchdown for this season, so that is his first of season 14, and comes at a good time as St. Louis will take the lead again.
Definitely, he has been the most targeted on St. Louis, and finally gets pay dirt, and a nice payoff for a job well done.
And Judah Dorgan going to wait for the kick. It is back and up. That extra point is good, and the Gladiators take a 23-17 lead. And you got to think, going down the stretch for this game, that blocked extra point is really going to be a big deal for St. Louis. It keeps Las Vegas in a little tighter than they could have been, even with that extra point being made.
Indeed. It's going to keep them in. No matter, unless things get out of hand, it's going to keep them in the game, and that's going to pay off big for Vegas.
And that kickoff going to be brought out to the 32-yard line, and Vegas looking to start in good field position.
Vegas needs to really get some momentum going, get some easy passes caught, get some yards, and chip away at this lead. Chip away at this deficit.
Tom Rahman under center with ISO formation behind him. He's going to take this snap and hand it off to Redford, who's going to get stuffed at the line of scrimmage and manage to gain one before going down. And
there's kind of a similar story as the first half, other than that big play. It just not much happening for Redford. That this St. Louis run D is just too stout.
And it is a real feel of 28 degrees in Gateway Coliseum, so you got to wonder if these Las Vegas guys are, feeling the pressures of the cold air. As Robert Redford taken down for a 2-yard or a 3-yard loss.
Definitely, they're used to that sun and in desert heat, but over here in St. Louis, it's a little different ball game, and it's cold, and they're getting a little winded, and just the weather could be playing a factor on them.
Tom Rahman alone in the backfield, going to drop back to pass. This one's tipped down to the ground and almost picked off.
Yep, yeah. It would have been a good throw if he could have put it over the defender, but unfortunately just kind of left it to where the wide receiver had to battle for it, and the defender just kind of won that battle.
And that was Evan Arthur on the pass defense. Already 2 interceptions this season, resulting in a total of 62 yards. So when he's able to pick that ball off, just really deadly, and the Fury really dodged that bullet. As the punt for Vegas is off and going back, that was caught by Chase Earl, but dragged down at the 37-yard line.
Now, St. Louis needs to do more of the same on this drive, put this game away. If they keep the momentum, keep going downfield, picking up 5-6 yards per play, they're gonna be doing some damage here.
Pickler will start this drive under center, split backs in the backfield, 2 receivers to his left. So he hands this one off to Diesel Dawson, going to power ahead and go down for 5.
And the Diesel getting up 5. He has 10.9 yards per carry this game. And he is just showing that he is a all-down back.
And obviously that long 54-yarder on the last drive really helped him with his average, but when you're averaging a first down every time you carry the ball, it's really hard for a team to stop you. And Pickler going to be in the shotgun, a back on either side of him, throw this one, and it's caught at the 49-yard line before he's taken down.
Yeah, he had 3 receivers right in that area, and I didn't know he was going to, but picked a man that was in the first down territory, and nice little pickup for Chase Earl.
Chase Earl with that reception. that is his third reception of the night for 40 yards. So again, Pickler really just evenly handing this ball out as he's going to throw this one. It's tipped up in the air and fell harmlessly to the ground. Cody Scott doing something he doesn't a whole lot and dropping a catch.
Yeah, the normally sure-handed Cody Scott dropped a sure pass, and he's definitely going to be kicking himself for that because, I mean, that's his territory right there.
And the pass that he dropped got lucky because he kind of tipped it up in the air. There was a corner in the area and could have went bad for the St. Louis offense. Now
Indeed, they dodged the bullet.
Pickler under center, split backs in the backfield, going to drop back to pass, throw this one to a quick out route who's going to step out of bounds at the 43-yard line.
And there's Nick Finch again, catching that, taking it up for, pretty solid little scamper, and gets out of bounds, and still building that momentum. They can spread it all over the field right here.
St. Louis facing a 3rd and 5. Johnny Pickler going to take the snap in the shotgun, drop back and dump this off to Diesel Dawson, who's going to fight ahead, only manage 3 yards before he is dragged down.
Just unfortunate. Found his man. Dawson breaks the tackle. Just too many white shirts bringing him down, stopping that drive right in its tracks.
And that quarterback comparison there, just really something to kind of show you how this game has gone. Johnny Pickler with 233 yards throwing, while Tom Rahman only having about 120 yards. Their offense just really not being able to get a whole lot going.
For sure. I mean, they had the takeaways, which shortened the field for them, but on the do or die when they've got to drive down the field, they just haven't had anything happen for them.
And the Fury will take this ball at the 13-yard line. Lots of field to go to try to get back tied up with the Gladiators. Going to be a weak I formation in the backfield. Rahman under center, going to hand this one to Redford, who's going to get taken down after a gain of 3.
And not enough happening by the offensive linemen in the second level. They got their blocks at the line, but no one could actually move up and hit any of those linebackers, and fortunately they just stopped him before he could get anything going.
Rahman coming back out after the huddle, going to go under center with a weak I formation. Truzman shading to the left. He's going to step back and hand this one off, but Robert Redford's going to get dragged down, losing all the yards he had recently gained.
And there was Shane Masters for the tackle for loss. He has 8 up until this game, so if he's added to his stats, that's a big year he's having, and he's shown why the St. Louis has a nasty defensive line.
The Fury going to go empty backfield, 3 receivers out wide to the left, as Rahman going to drop back to pass and throw this one deep. That's caught. He's taking the ball at the 40 before he's thrown down to the ground.
The safety whiffed on the tackle, and he picked up an extra, 5-6 yards on that, and perfect pass to where only he could catch it, and just explosive.
And that ball caught by Memphis Blue, getting them closer to St. Louis territory, up to the 39-yard line. Vegas now going to take this ball in the weak I formation. This time Truzman to the right of the formation. Rahman's going to drop back to pass and throw this. That's 5-yard gain and a quick out route.
And there's Memphis Blue again, showing why he is the absolute number 1 target for this Las Vegas Fury offense, and catches just about anything thrown to him. And right there, big 5-yard gain, and keep those wheels turning.
And Memphis Blue has 53 receiving yards off of 6 receptions. Tom Rahman going to drop back this time, dump it off to Robert Redford, who's going to fight ahead for a first down before he's taken down to the ground.
Well, it's a first down, and that's what they need. Just keep on moving the chains. And Redford, they want to get him involved, and they are. He just needs to show that he can break a big gain.
And the Fury up to midfield now, a long way from where they started this drive at the 13-yard line. Going to go with split backs in the backfield, 2 receivers out to the left side of this formation. Rahman's going to drop back to pass and throw this to the tight end sitting open in the middle, who gets a gain of about 12 before going down.
And there's John Blades, just sets right over the middle, sets in that little cushion, and catches it, turns up the field, picks up a couple extra yards, and finally brought down. That's just proven to be a tough weapon over the middle.
And this time a weak ISO formation with Trusman to the right. This ball handed off to Redford, who's going to fight ahead for about 2 yards, and he's going to get dragged down.
And he had to work for every yard he gained because he was met with resistance at the line, made himself small, squeezed through it, but met by the linebacker and brought down.
The Fury now facing a 2nd and long as they're going to come out in an I formation. Tight end to the left side, the lone receiver out wide to the right. This ball is going to be handed off to Robert Redford, who's going to get dragged down really by a sea of green there. Couldn't quite pick out who made the final tackle.
That was definitely a gang tackle, and it took the entire team to bring him down because he was just avoiding all the green defenders, and kind of did what he wanted and finally brought down.
Rahman's going to drop back to pass from the I formation, throw this one, and it's caught before being taken down at the 24-yard line. Memphis Blue yet again.
And there he is, picking up some more yards, making himself available, giving himself a big target for his quarterback, and hauling in the pass.
Memphis Blue and Chris Braun split out wide for the Fury. A weak I formation in the backfield, and then one in the slot. Rahman going to drop back to pass, throw this one to the middle. That one is caught at the 17-yard line for a gain of 7.
Wow, I thought Chuck Diesel would have taken that right away from him, but kudos to John Blades just snatching it away from him and picking up some yards when that could have been just a breakup right there.
Fury at 2nd and 3 on the St. Louis 17-yard line, inside of the red zone now, as this one's handed off from an I formation. Robert Redford going to get stuck, but fight ahead to the 10-yard line before going down.
And there's Robert Redford again, spin move master, and he is just plugging away, building that average up, and he is just saying, "I will not quit."
And the Fury going to go yet again in the I formation. Receiver out to the right. As Rahman takes the snap, hands it to Redford, who's going to fight ahead, try to get outside, but get taken down at the 2-yard line after a big hit from Colin Douglas.
Ooh, Colin Douglas just cleaned his whistle right there. Robert Redford was getting held up, and Douglas just comes and smacks him. Redford read that hole well, picked his spot, and just moved in to the 5.
And they're going to go I formation yet again at the 2-yard line. This one handed off to Redford again, who's going to get stood up and taken down at the 3 for a loss of 1.
And that was all penetration by St. Louis. They just could not be blocked and just snuffed it out. And the offensive line for Las Vegas really let them down right there.
And we reached the end of the 3rd quarter. You are watching the Simulation Football League on YouTube. We are back at Gateway Coliseum to start off the 4th quarter. Your St. Louis Gladiators have the lead of 23-17, but the Fury are in scoring distance. Gonna drop back to pass, throw it, but it's picked off deep in the end zone, taking a knee.
And there, right there, was Colin Douglas just snatching it away from the tight end. The Las Vegas likes to target their big tight ends in the end zone, and Douglas just said, "Nope, I'm not going to let you do it," and just snatched it away.
And that is exactly what the St. Louis team needed to just keep the ball rolling and try to keep the score as long as they can, or drive down the field here and score again. Diesel Dawson offset to the left. Is Pickler going to drop back to pass? Throw this one deep. That is caught. Taken down at the 47-yard line.
There's Cody Scott again, proving why he was one of our players of the first half. Just making himself available to his quarterback right over the middle of the field. Beautiful. Free safety misses it. And Colantrelli nearly had it tipped, but couldn't quite get there.
And St. Louis will come out already 27 yards from where they started just a minute ago, really, as Pickler going to drop back and hand this one to Dawson, who's going to get tackled. Something that rarely happens for the St. Louis offense.
Yeah, and that was a little shades of their own defense on that, just snuffing out the play behind the line, and that's been happening to Redford all game, and finally happens to Diesel, and they need to get some positive momentum here.
Split back in the backfield on both sides of Pickler. He's going to throw this one, and it's almost picked off, but falls to the ground. That play made by Day Drury.
Yep, Day Drury just was right in the right position, and the ball just goes right over the middle, and if he catches that, that's a big turnover right there.
3rd and 12 for the Gladiators. Split backs in the backfield behind Pickler, who's under center. 2 receivers out to the left of this formation. Pickler going to drop back to pass. Throw this one deep. That ball's caught yet again. Taken down at the 32-yard line.
Wow. And there's our boy Chase Earl. No, excuse me, that was Nick Finch. Caught that and gets inside on his man, catches it, and the safety was just a little late, and finally brings him down, and looking to keep on going down the field.
And different from the first half, St. Louis was attacking the sidelines with quick outs. Now really just attacking deep down the middle of the field, and it's worked either way. So this ball's handed off to Dawson, going to fight ahead, break a tackle, and get the first down before going down.
And it's really been the balance in the offense for St. Louis, because Vegas can't tee off on the run or the pass, and now that those passes are opening up the run game, and Diesel Dawson is taking full advantage of it.
And St. Louis now just outside of the red zone at the Las Vegas 21-yard line, facing a 1st and 10 as Pickler goes under center. Dawson offset to the right. Going to read the defense before taking the snap. He's going to drop back to pass, and he is sacked right away. A loss of 4.
And that was just instant sack right there by Wapo Esteban, and just destroys his man, and and just spins, gets the sack, and that's setting back to St. Louis.
And Pickler tried to take a quick one-step drop there. It didn't give him nearly enough time, having been right under center. So this time he's going to take the snap from the shotgun with Diesel Dawson flanked to his left. Gonna drop back to pass. Look, throw this quickly to the sideline. That's caught before taken out of bounds.
And there's old Trusty again, the out route. Finch, 9 receptions in this game, and nearly all of them have been that play right there almost.
The Gladiators now facing a 3rd and 8 from the Las Vegas 19-yard line. You got to think that the Gladiators really looking to at least get a first down here, as they'd like to take the touchdown and go up by a little bit more.
Definitely.
Pickler going to be under center, I formation behind him. Going to drop back to pass. Throw this one over the middle of the field, and it's caught by a diving catch. Great play by Nick Finch.
And there's Finch with the $1 million hands, and he gets right. Ooh, just the quarterback threads the pass right where he's the only one that can catch it, and that was a magnificent play.
The Gladiators now on just the 7-yard line, facing a 1st and goal. This ball's going to be handed to Diesel Dawson. Going to fight ahead and punch it in for a touchdown.
And there's the touchdown, finally pay dirt, and that all those plays leading up pay off. He just drags the man into the end zone, and there's the pay dirt.
The Gladiators now go up 29-17, 30-17, pending this extra point, unless we see yet another block, as they will line up and get ready for it.
And that would be huge.
They await the snap for this extra point. The one that was blocked, the snap came very low. That snap is straight back. The kick is up, and it is good. The Gladiators take a 30-17 lead.
2-score ball game. They can definitely do it. Vegas does have the quick strike potential. We just haven't seen it in this game.
With 7 minutes and 44 seconds left to go, Las Vegas has plenty of time. They just need to get something done sooner than later. As this kick is up and off, it is caught pretty short for a kick and taken up to the 29-yard line before being tackled.
Now Las Vegas is in the driver's seat. They can get Redford involved in the game with, run and pass, and then target those big tight ends. Looking forward to seeing how they construct this drive.
Tom Rahman gonna go under center with the I formation behind him. One receiver out to the left, gonna step back and hand this ball to Robert Redford, who's gonna fight ahead for a 2-yard gain, taken down at the 31.
And that was line meets line, and the defensive line met their match, and the linebackers filled in the gaps and brought the play to a 2-yard gain.
And Chuck Diesel just made his 8th tackle of the game. Really just been kind of an arch nemesis for Robert Redford, who hasn't been able to show off his breakaway speed. Rahman under center, split backs in the backfield. Going to step back to pass and throw this one quickly. It's going to be taken up for about a 1-yard gain before being dragged down. That is John Trusman's first catch of his SFL career.
And a little switch up. I haven't called his name. I mean, considering it's his first catch of his career, and it's nice to get his name on the stat sheet.
Rahman going to go alone in the backfield. 3 receivers out to the right side. Going to step back and throw this one. That ball is picked off. There's nobody around him. He's going to take it up. He's to the 30. There's nobody there. He finally gets tackled as the offensive lineman managed to catch up to him.
And that is devastating. They thought they had a nice little drive going, and just inopportune turnover. He picks it off and just read it and just was in the perfect spot for Drew Reale, and couldn't have come at a larger moment in this ball game.
And the Gladiators already looking right at the red zone, getting the ball at the Las Vegas 22-yard line. They're going to start with a weak I formation. Diesel Dawson, the back in the backfield. Trellis Blanton, the fullback, as they will drop back to pass this one in the end zone. It's caught for a touchdown.
Insurance right there for Nick Finch and St. Louis. They strike down the field for a quick play and puts them up 3 scores.
And Nick Finch just doing all kinds of work this game, coming in without a touchdown reception, already putting up 2 along with 11 receptions and 98 yards.
This second half has been the Nick Finch show, bar none. I mean, it has been just him showing off his impressive array of skills.
They are going to line up for the extra point. This is Judah Dorgan back awaiting the kick. The kick is snapped. It is blocked yet again. That's the second block for Las Vegas in this game.
And it did look like another bad snap. And the calls from the St. Louis fans are booing the long snapper at this point.
So Las Vegas will await this kick, feeling a little good. I mean, Obviously, they don't feel good that they gave up a touchdown, but that blocked extra point is really big in the long term for scoring. As that kick is off and caught, taken up to the 24-yard line before he's dragged down.
And that those 2 blocked extra points are definitely going to be in the mind of Las Vegas as they continue to try to chip away at this deficit. And if they can just put a successful string of scoring plays, they should hold their hats up high.
And the Fury will take this Ramen under the center offset I formation as he drops back to pass and gets sacked.
Yep, and that was the big defensive lineman, number 94, Franco Sonati, just bulldozed his lineman and just destroyed the quarterback.
The Fury offense now facing a 2nd and 16. Redford offset to the left, 2 receivers to the right side of the formation. Ramen going to take the snap and drop back. Going to dump this one off, and it's going to be taken up for a gain of 5 before he's taken down.
And a little insurance, getting a couple yards, but that's not going to do it if they're trying to score. I get what they're trying to do, safe play, but you gotta strike hard.
And Ramen gonna go as the lone man in the backfield, got the 3 receivers to the top of the screen. He's gonna drop back to pass, try to throw this, but it's hit and the ball goes to the ground.
And that was Tony Roberto on the pressure. And shame he couldn't get a sack, but they'll take a incompletion, especially bringing up 4th and 11.
And the Fury will have to go back to punt. Not being able to get anything done on this drive. Only 4 plays for a net of -1 yards. The snap's going to be high, but the punt is off and good. It's going to go for the long run. 4.1 seconds of hang time before the Chase Earl is taken down at the 42-yard line.
Yeah, and that was definitely not a boomer necessarily, but a high punt, and gave his gunners enough time to get up there. But on the 42-yard line, that's kind of a rough punt.
And the Gladiators, as you said, will take this ball at the 42-yard line. Split backs in the backfield. 2 receivers to the left of the formations. Pickler's going to take a deep drop, throw this ball deep. It's caught, and there's nobody near. Cody Scott takes this the long run for a touchdown.
Cody Scott, just the weapon for this team, and gets behind his man, and there was no one behind him except for the fans. No one in front of them except for the fans, excuse me.
And St. Louis offense just striking. Not much being able to happen there for Las Vegas. He only had the safety to beat, and the safety tried to jump the route.
Yep, and whiffed, and that's, hey, when you try to do that, sometimes you hit him, sometimes you don't, and that time he didn't.
So the Gladiators look to await this extra point, hoping to get this one off, as they have a 42-17 lead. The snap is off, kick is up, and it is good. The Gladiators take a 43-17 lead with just 5 minutes left to go in this game.
And it's gone from bad to worse for Las Vegas, and they are definitely scrambling on the sidelines, trying to figure out what they can do to stop the bleeding.
If you're new to the SFL, get your spot in the SFL Minor League, SFLM, today to claim your spot and begin your SFL career. Subscriptions are going fast, and the inaugural kickoff begins in April. First Pro subscribers get first priority on choosing their positions, so don't delay your career another second. Can't wait for you to make an impact. As that ball is returned to the 26-yard line, Vegas now essentially has to get some kind of points on the board this drive.
They do, because their window of opportunity is quickly shrinking, and they've got to do something here.
And Ramen gonna go as the lone man in the backfield to to start out this drive. He's going to drop back, pass, throw this one off quickly. That's caught by the tight end, taken up to the... And they're going to go hurry up. They must be listening to us up in the booth this time, trying to get something strike fast. He's going to drop back to pass through the sideline, but it's deflected to the ground.
Ooh, he saw that man just breaking and thought he had him, but just couldn't get enough mustard on that throw, and the defensive back number 40 Drew really just tips it away and harmlessly incomplete.
Now 2nd and 10 for the Fury as they are at the 40-yard line. And again, Tom Rahman alone in the backfield. 3 receivers this time to the left of the formation. Rahman going to drop back and throw this one. That is almost picked off, but dropped right at the 49-yard line.
Oof, nearly picked off. And Nathan Blake kind of bummed that he didn't pick that off and pretty much in this game. But Las Vegas is in desperation mode, and they're trying all their tricks.
So Vegas now facing a 3rd and 10, going yet again to the empty backfield. 3 receivers to the top of the formation. And St. Louis only putting 3 down linemen, so expecting the pass. Rahman drops back to pass and throws this one. It's tipped up to the air, but the receiver not able to get to it.
And harmlessly incomplete. Drew really on that pass defense again, and he's shown up big when his number's called. And the quarterback had, his man over there, but just couldn't get enough zip and couldn't complete it.
Yeah, as a receiver, you really got to focus on the ball, and that was one that I'm sure Chris Braun wishes he could have back. Even though that ball was tipped, it kind of went straight back, and if Braun would have been able to follow it and catch it, there was not a whole lot St. Louis would have been able to do there.
Definitely.
So Tom Rahman at 4th and 10, going the lone man in the backfield, 3 receivers to the left side of the set. Has to get this done on their 40-yard line. Going to drop back to pass, throw this one a quick out. Who's going to step out of bounds 4 yards short of the first down.
Oh, no. Field awareness was lacking right there. He needed more. He needed 11 and just didn't get it. Fair enough. So
let's go ahead and take a look at next week's schedule for these 2 teams. Unless something tragic happens, both of these teams going into next week at 2 and 3. St. Louis having to go into Vancouver and play at Canada Field, which is really a rough thing for any team to do this season.
Definitely, it's a fortress, really, and they just don't let anybody do anything there, and it's going to be a tough matchup for them.
And Vancouver being the one lone undefeated team on the season, another tough feat for this St. Louis team that's really had their ups and downs all year. Pickler going to take this one with split backs in the backfield. He's going to drop back to pass, scramble to the left, but get sacked and taken down for a loss of 8 by Rhett Sawyer.
Rhett Sawyer, we haven't called his name enough this game, but making his presence felt little late, but better late than never, I guess. But picks up another sack, and now St. Louis has to try to get a first down because they don't want Vegas to have the ball again.
And then we will look to the other side as Las Vegas looks to travel into the Seattle Tyrants Stadium next week. Do you think that's a game that they'll be able to bounce back after this rough, what appears to be a loss?
Yeah, they're going to be playing with some passion because they don't want this game. They want this taste out of their mouth, and they're going to be looking to bounce back. And I think that matchup's just a little bit to where they can do some stuff because this St. Louis defense is so stacked. But they can definitely do some stuff, and they're going to be looking to get some revenge.
Yeah, but you got to think that St. Louis will be going into that game biting their nails as they got to face yet another just big, powerful running back in Zach Sandlin.
Definitely. Sandlin is a monster, and they're going to, game prep, practice all week, and get prepared. And hopefully they can take some of this game and use it and shut down Sandland.
The snap for the punt was actually a little bit to the right, but the punter able to handle it and get this ball off to where it will be at the Las Vegas 20. So Vegas with just 2 minutes and 26 seconds left to really just try to get something done here. And, you know, as we're talking a little bit about next week's schedule, let's look at just a couple more of the games that should be pretty interesting matchups. You know, I'm looking at one myself. Sioux Falls heading into Jacksonville at Kings Lair, and Jacksonville really trying to get something done after a shocking loss to New Orleans this week.
Yeah, definitely. They're wanting to bounce back in a big way, and they can definitely make a statement with the win over Sioux Falls.
And then another big one, you got Arizona traveling into the Hive, playing at Atlanta. You know, Eddie Gage and the Scorpions really kind of struggling to get their footing as a new team in the SFL, trying to get something done there.
Yeah, they do want some positive things to happen, but you know it takes time. New team, and it just doesn't happen overnight. I mean, if they're patient, things will come.
And the Fury facing a 3rd and 5 with just 9 seconds left before the 2-minute warning. Rahman going to drop back to pass and throw this one deep. That ball's picked off. He's going to be tackled at the 41-yard line. Just another rough throw for Tom Rahman there, as it's his 3rd interception on the day.
Yep, and Nathan Blake just seeked it out, played it perfectly, just jumps that route and gets that pick, and that puts the icing on the cake for this ball game for St. Louis.
And St. Louis will have to run one play before the 2-minute warning, and then really it'll be ticking down from there. It appears as though they have their backups in at this point, letting their guys rest for a little bit.
Yeah, no need to get anybody hurt.
And you are watching the Simulation Football League on YouTube. The St. Louis offense looks to come back out at 2nd and 11 on the Las Vegas 42-yard line. They're going to drop back to pass. He's going to throw this one off. Quick dump off pass. It's going to be taken up for a loss. Or no, he managed to get back up to the line of scrimmage before going down.
Yep, and that was Trellis Blanton. First time we've called his name today, and you know, got some yards. Called it. Las Vegas had to burn a timeout, so that's always good for St. Louis. But need a first down here.
And the quarterback for St. Louis in right now is Joe Willie Washington, looking to get a little bit of playing time. Something he hasn't been able to do a whole lot other than fielding, catching for extra points and things like that. As that ball is taken up yet again to the line of scrimmage and taken down.
Yep. At this point, St. Louis just needs to run out the clock. They've got this punt, but if their defense can, get another takeaway, they're going to be sitting pretty and really close out this ball game.
St. Louis back to punt this ball off for what's probably the last time this game. It's almost blocked, but able to get there. The ball is fair caught and taken at the 13-yard line.
Almost saw another block. That would have been just kind of a little stat stuffer that doesn't mean much, but at least the special teams unit for Las Vegas can take away that they did their job today.
I mean, the special teams play, this week in the SFL has just been insane. This being the second game with 2 or more extra point blocks, as the Queen City Corsairs and Denver Nightwings played the other night, and there were 3 total extra points blocked in that game.
Yeah, so a lot of that going around, and really changes the ball game.
Rahman took that high snap and able to throw it deep. The ball caught at the 48-yard line, and they take their last time out.
And that's all I getting to the point where that could be all she wrote for Las Vegas, but they'll take that first down from Memphis Blue. And I mean, what they can do, they can work on some stuff, at least kind of try some stuff they haven't used to see if maybe next week they can use it again. But at this point, they're just kind of, I mean, not really threatening St. Louis.
The Fury offense looking to put a few more points on the board. As Memphis Blue dives for that ball, actually takes out the referee on that one.
Yeah, poor guy didn't expect to get hit today, but hey, he makes the big bucks, and that's why. I mean, he's out there. He knows what's coming when those wide receivers can be going for a ball.
You know, sometimes those refs don't understand that they are considered part of the playing field, and you know, sometimes they just happen to get in the way, and that kind of stuff happens. As Rahman takes this one from the shotgun, the lone man in the backfield. This ball's picked off by St. Louis yet again after the tip. He's going to take this one up, break a couple tackles, and go down at the 43-yard line.
And that right there ends the threat from Vegas, and that was Freeman Peltier, and gets his name in the stat sheet for an interception, and it couldn't have ended this ball game on a better note for St. Louis.
And you can't fully credit Freeman Peltier there without talking about the great play by the corner there, able to swat that ball up and give him a chance to position to get it, as St. Louis is looking to just kneel out the rest of this clock. They will take the snap and kneel it, take a 2-yard loss, but really just to get the clock running.
Yep. So now that the ball game's winding down, do you have a new player of the game that you've been eyeballing?
I mean, I'd still have to think you got to look at Cody Scott, unless you want to look at Johnny Pickler. I mean, Pickler with 31 completions, 38 attempts, 379 yards, and 4 touchdowns, 1 interception thrown as well. Just another great game played by the number one overall pick. But as we talked earlier, you know, Cody Scott, 6 receptions, 166 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It's hard in the SFL to get a tight end involved, and you know, St. Louis has done very well tonight in doing so.
Indeed, and you said, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, he has shown that. I mean, between the quarterback and Cody Scott, Pickler, I mean, he pulled his head up from the interception early and really put his foot down and found Cody Scott for 2 touchdowns. And I mean, it was just the Cody Scott show in the fourth quarter for sure.
And looking at the other side of the field for the Fury, you know, Tom Rahman, 26 completions, 42 attempts for 246 yards, only able to throw 1 touchdown, and unfortunately threw 4 interceptions. You could kind of discredit that last one. It wasn't really his fault. It was just a great play, but kind of an unfortunate night for him in the end.
Yeah, they couldn't get much started, and he just was trying to play from behind almost all game, and when you become predictable, just bad things happen.
And the Fury defensive line playing, or really their whole defense, but their defensive line playing well, just like they always do, between Rhett Sawyer and Guapo Esteban getting 4 total sacks on the night.
Yeah, and just showing that they are wrecking balls back there, and really punished St. Louis's offensive line, and got their fair share of sacks. And we had expected a few sacks to be had, and it did not disappoint.
And then defensively for the Gladiators, you've got Nathan Blake with 9 tackles, 1 for loss, 2 pass deflections, and an interception. The free safety just having an incredible night.
Indeed. we don't really call his name much, but when he was in, he was a difference maker for sure.
And then the running backs both attempting a fair amount. Robert Redford with 22 attempts. Diesel Dawson only with 15, able to get 127 yards and 2 touchdowns. He ended up averaging 8.5 yards per carry.
Yeah, and that 50 plus yard scamper really helped his average. But I mean, when you're picking up 8 yards a game, I mean it's big. And there's our player of the game, Johnny Pickler.
And as you said, Johnny Pickler, our player of the game, 30 for 37, 380 yards and 4 touchdowns. And that is all we have here at the Gateway Coliseum. For Wade Phillips, I'm Robert Garrett, alongside with Gerald Smith in the stats booth and Cameron Irvine on production. So you guys have a good night.
Night, everybody.